Ant-Man and the Wasp is a perfectly fine action movie. It's absolutely an Ant-Man movie. It's kind of weightless, it's full of action, it has a bunch of characters running around. They are doing the usual shell game, but unlike in Pirates of Caribbean 2, here it works because nothing really depends on it, but and everyone has time to shine. And this is a real action movie, so we see actual stunts, not just CGI fest. It's very evidently a middle portion of a bigger Ant-Man story. Within the first one we got the basic characters, and this installment was heading to the main course. So the whole Ant-Man brand has really one thing to offer: the quantum world. In the first movie, they briefly entered it just to show that, yeah, that's a thing. And here they are rescuing Mom from it. Obviously, they will go back in the third one and do something about it. So the whole Quantumania, at least on a broad conceptual level, did exist at this point, probably at the very beginning of the whole thing. And despite we have quite a lot of people running around, at least the wife, the kid, and the stepfather is just a side character. But we have, Ant-Man and Hank Pym and Miss Wasp. I don't know the actress name right now. She was like a C-tier actress, so she is not very important in the business. But there is also the FBI, CIA, whoever, because of course they had to print in a ticking time bomb. Time countdown. If Mr. Ant-Man would just sit on his ass for just 2 more days, maybe that would have caused, the constellation or aligning go away and would ruin the whole rescue operation. But if I were him, I would just sit tight and talk about my dream 2 days later. I'm sorry. And actually, the whole movie could actually, most of it could have been avoided just by one meeting Ghost and her protege, mentor. Sorry, not native English. Just tell them, wait an hour. They really needed, what, seriously, half an hour, 1 hour to get in, get out. The quantum verse or whatever. This doesn't look like the quantum verse yet. Despite, in Quantum Mania that there will be entire civilizations. Spoiler, like anyone cares. Wasp is fine, just another Ant-Man, this time with wings. Not that Ant-Man constantly have flying ants, so there really isn't that big of a difference, but at least some aesthetically, sure, fine, why not. I like they brought back all three buffoons. even if two is just, just really there for very brief scenes. I'm glad they are all back. It would have been so easy to cut two of them off. What else can I tell you about this whole thing? Well, seriously, not much. It's a bit too long. This type of movie is really should aim for the 90, 108 minutes. This was 2 hours. And we had to spend 30 seconds on the end just drumming. Seems Disney has too much money to spend on absolutely meaningless scenes. That's 30 seconds full CGI. I'm really now on Ghost. I actually have the comics that she appeared in. This is also the original cover. This is the Hungarian letters, but otherwise this is where the character appeared, and it was only a 2-issue appearance. Seriously. And this is my only Iron Man comics that I have. In Hungary we had double issues, so we actually always had 40 pages, not 20 like, in American, probably in the whole world, because we were reading, so this was conceptual, cultural differences. And entirely by accident, I like the whole Avenger headquarters was attacked by Zemo. This was the original Zemo, or the son of Zemo. We had the exact same costume. See? Purple, and there is this tiara thingy going on, and yeah, all that. It was a really cool story. I didn't bother with more, and this is how the third Marvel looked like in the comic. She was in Captain Marvel just a kid. Anyway, Ghost in its story, by the way, they mentioned the Goliath project. This character is Goliath. He had the same power as Hank Pym, only he didn't shrink, just grew. So here is Ghost, and this is what happened to him in the comic book. He's going to sabotage Iron Man's, Tony Stark's power plant thingy, and he just died. And the whole thing was about him that no one knew who he was. Absolutely zero information, and he just died. Absolutely. As everyone constantly got resurrected in the comics, no one really died. I was fascinated by this story, this two-parter. That they dare to do this. And talking about the MCU, I never knew where I want to insert this. Talk about it. You are dealing with real life actors. So you can't just swap them around. You can't constantly resurrect them because they age out. And with Marvel, or in that regard DC, you have literally thousands of characters to choose from. So you can let them die permanently. You should, as just like for the comics. Characters should die when they expire all their avenues. And the MCU really was the chance to make that a reality. And they fucked it up, of course. Now, do I complain about Ghost being originally male and having a very different main story and, died? While here it get a magical touch from Mother Pym, and that was stupid. That nobody cares. And actually, you didn't need the A-list characters from the comic books to make the MCU. Iron Man was a B-tier alcoholic in the comic books. Captain America was really going expiring because he was America. All the rest, Thor, not really a fan favorite, I'm sorry. But the MCU took these B or even C tier characters and made them great. Sure, maybe the movies weren't always great, but people watched them, and at least for the first installment of each brand, they were perfectly fine, the very least, or even good, great even. So you were at this point, phase 6, where we are currently when I'm filming this, there is really no excuse. You don't need your A characters. That's not what made the audience like the MCU, watch the movies and all the shows and everything. That's not what it's about. And you can change characters, character arcs, plot, stories, the way you want, and people will like it if you just have a decent script. Ant-Man, I don't think had a major audience, and people definitely hated it in the comics actually. But in the movie, no one hated it. I remember we, the audience, just, we have a filler character to ease up the pace, to have one more movie, because why not? And it was kind of a street level guy. And sure, Quantumania had the issue with Kang and other, but no one hated Ant-Man for it. They hated the script, and they hated the actor of Kang, and they hated Kang and the whole multiverse thing, and what they did with the whole quantum world concept, but because it was just too much along the multiverse and the time travel and who knows what. But it was, the character was still liked. It was like the Marvels. Sure, no one needed the light Marvel, and everyone hated Brie Larson, and it's Marvel, whatever. But this inhuman mutant, whatever, the young one. Everyone liked the actress and everyone liked the character. They just didn't like the story. So, lesson is focus on the story, and you can make kinda anything great. But if you just focus on the visuals and you fuck up the story, you don't have a plan, then you end up where the MCU is, which is pretty much the DCEU way, where you just slap in characters and let's try to go with let's see what sticks, and not enough sticks. It's like Elon Musk rockets. He always claims, oh, this was just a test and you need these failures to learn from them. No, you need plans to have less very expensive failures. I mean, the project spent all the money, and yesteryear Elon should have put people on the moon. I'm sorry, the USA lost the space race to China. That's where we are. And why I'm babbling still? Because what was the role of Ghost in this story? Aside, adding more chaos to the whole thing. Not much. Actually, you could cut her out entirely. And I think I saw her on the Thunderbolts poster. 10 years passed since she appeared in this one, Ant-Man and the Wasp. And it was really a 2-issue character. There is no source material. It can't have fans. I mean, I am a fan, but it's not really the longevity of that fandom is not there. So, what were they thinking? She really should have been in phase 4, at least in a series, to take it seriously. I will be very interested to watch how, if at all, anything got developed in phase 4, 5, 6, and if there really is anything that borders, signal that this is the end, this is the start of the phase. Either I would be fine because, phase 2 had no starting point. It was just, adding more characters and putting an Avengers movie at the end. I'm bloody interested in that.